appreciate everyone coming out tonight. And for those of you that ran, thanks very much for that run. It was probably a little too short for us all, but next time we'll go longer. And everyone should turn off their phone, especially if it's my phone. I guess I'll share a brief story about the 50 marathon experience, and then open it up to some questions that you might have. Answer a couple questions. I've got to actually run at about 7:30, 7:40. Flying back to San Francisco is where I live. I'm flying back there this evening.
Customer service.
But I will happily take photos. I don't know if I'm worthy of autographs, but I will sign anything. I'm willing to sign things. I don't think I'm autograph material, but I'll definitely give a signature. So the 50 marathons. I mean, someone said to me today, if you have one experience, if you can just distill it all down into one, soundbite. We're really good about doing that here in the U.S., right? One soundbite. What would that be? And I think that would be that we're better than we think we are. And maybe even we can go further than we think we can. And when I started the 50 marathons, I thought, okay, this is a really risky move because I got sponsors that are relying on me. I've got a lot of people going to be waiting at the finish line. Am I going to die after 5 marathons? I mean, how far am I possibly going to make it? I didn't know what would happen going into it. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Every morning I'm going to have the same commitment. And that commitment in the morning is that today I'm going to try my hardest. Today I'm going to be the best team that I can be. And I mean, as humans, what else can we do, right? Just get out there and try your best. And that really helped calm my stomach a little bit. I said, there's a lot of expectations. You got butterflies in your stomach, but just do your very best. That's all you can do. As long as you just do your best, be satisfied with that. Well, 50 marathons later, I was still standing. And I think the most telling marathon of all 50 was the final marathon, which was the New York City Marathon. The 50th marathon was my strongest of all. I finished that in 3 hours and 30 seconds. So that's a pretty respectable marathon time, even on first legs, let alone with 49 marathons on my legs prior. And I'll never forget when I got to the finish line. This race official comes running over to me. He says, he's hugging me. He says, I can't believe you got here so fast. I mean, I can't believe you ran that marathon so quickly after 49 marathons in the last 49 days. You're right there next to Lance. And that was the year Lance Armstrong ran the marathon. I was like, 30 seconds behind him. He looked bad, by the way. I mean, he's a friend. I love Lance. He's a great guy, and I totally admire him, but his butt was kicked. Yeah, he was out. I didn't even want to talk to me. He was covered in salt, cotton mouth, typical dehydration kind of thing. But anyway, the race officials said, did you want to beat Lance? I mean, you're trying to get in front of Lance. And I said, no. I mean, I had no desire whatsoever to beat Lance. I mean, I thought I'd be nowhere close to Lance. And the last thing in my mind was trying to beat Lance. I mean, the only person I wanted to beat was P. Diddy. That dude did it that year, and I saw him at the start. He's like surrounded by this posse. He's got these big gold chains on. That joker beats me. Even after 49 marathons, he was so humiliated. So I slipped in ahead of P. Diddy, and it was pretty much a fulfilling experience. Yeah. But then I was slated to be on Conan O'Brien later that night. I'll never forget. So I ran over to the Conan studio. And I was sitting in this thing they call the green room, kind of getting ready to go on. I was watching Conan announce my coming, and he said, we got a guy here, and I can believe this. He just ran 50 marathons in 50 states in 50 days. He's dead, but I think he's flying with somewhere back there. But I'm not dead. I live, and it was great. And I guess I'll leave you with saying, what's next? I mean, how are you going to top that? I really don't try to top things. I mean, I just look for adventures that I think would be kind of cool. And I think as a marathoner, who has never dreamed about taking a year of your life off and trying to run a marathon in every country of the world? So there's 207 countries out there. And I'm going to, in 2012, try to run a marathon in every country of the world in a 1-year sabbatical. So it's a silent sales pitch. So I'm going to take the sign-ups. If anyone passes you want to join me?
I'm in.
Any questions? I mean, I'll answer a couple questions, and if you have any. Okay, so the long distance training nutrition, I'll tell you that I take a couple pieces of mandatory equipment with me when I go on these long runs, and that's my hydration pack. And I have a cell phone and a credit card inside. And if I find myself like in a remote area which I don't have access to food, I've got round table pizza and I don't know. And I mean, here's my routine. You got to try this. When you call round table, tell them where you're going to be in about 20-25 minutes so they can meet you there. Ask them for a Hawaiian style. Pepperoni's too spicy, so get the Hawaiian style. Large, thin crust, and you got to request they don't slice it. That's key, because when they deliver it to you, you roll it into a big burrito, like a big it's so sloppy, it gets all over you. That's good.
Like a balance of carbs, protein.
Yeah. Balance, yeah. But I try to follow kind of the 40-30-30 routine, so not really high carbs. I used to carb load. I don't do that anymore. I try to go with slower metabolized carbs. I do eat, the blocks and the gels and stuff like that during marathons, but during the longer runs, I kind of shy away from that stuff. I'm pretty good at tolerating solid foods. I mean, just say, on a long training run, I mean, some of these runs that I do are 48, 50. I've run for 82 hours nonstop, so that's a long run. And if you calculate that I'm burning between 500 and 700 calories an hour, that's like 30, 40,000 calories in a couple days of nonstop running, which is a lot of food. So I really rely on solid food. There's guys I race with. There's one woman I race with who's an incredibly elite athlete. She eats no solid food, even on these 100 and 150 mile runs. She drinks Boost, Ensure. She drinks Ensure and then chases it with a Red Bull. That's all she consumes the entire distance. Yeah. She's starting to incorporate coconut water now too. She's broadening horizons. Like, oh, Pam, should send her name. I gotta kill you all. Sorry. Sir.
How many? It's okay. How many runs have you had this year?
So how many runs have I had this year? I pretty much run a marathon or something a little bit longer about every weekend. So I'll tell you what I did the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, there's a 200-mile run that I love to do. It's called the Relay. It's up in the Bay Area. It's a 12-person relay team. And I don't have 11 friends, so I had to run by myself. And then last weekend, I was in a place called Bear Mountain in New York. And I ran a marathon on Saturday, and then a half marathon on Sunday. So 26 miles on Saturday, and then 13 miles on Sunday. And then I'm here, and we did our little run today. So thank you for being part of my run today.
Any other questions before we? Yeah. What do you do for recovery? I mean, I know you don't have a lot of time for recovery in between, but are there things that you?
Well, I mean, you're not gonna like to hear this, but ice baths. Yeah. So you fill your tub with water and put ice in there, and if you can get in an ice bath, it's fantastic. I mean, they go a long way. Guys ask me how long do I have to stay in there, and I say, until your voice goes up a couple octaves. The longer you can soak in ice, the better it is. The other thing is I eat a lot of salmon, a lot of wild Pacific salmon, so omega-3 fatty acids are critical. I think that helps a lot with recovery. I also go running the next day. It's very counterintuitive because you run a marathon, the next morning you feel like you need to get out of bed, right? But I go hobbling for maybe 2 or 3 miles. I mean, just even a fast walk, move the next day. And a lot of people just want to sit at their office and think they're recovered just sitting there all day. It doesn't work. So compression tights, I've been able to use compression tights. They work wonders. Put on some compression tights. Also, I carry an Nalgene bottle with me, and I drink a lot of coconut water and a lot of water. Just power a lot of clean, natural fluids throughout the day, and that really helps. So just as much fluid as you can get in, you just kind of flush out your system. And those are some big